Last night, Spotlight on Maryland investigated concerns about squatting in Northeast Baltimore. Tonight, Gary Collins has a closer look at the online systems being used to illegally rent out homes to squatters.
It's an epidemic. It's insane. It's insane. It's like this glitch in the system that just allows people to break in and enter and vandalize properties and steal. It's just theft. It's burglary. It's insane.
Our team discovered an underworld of social media accounts and encrypted messaging groups advertising squatter and last resort housing, including this post from Wednesday. State Delegate Ryan Araki, who represents Baltimore County, was the sponsor of legislation last General Assembly session that sought to increase penalties on individuals running illicit squatter placement businesses.
It is a pervasive problem in Maryland. It touches every community, doesn't matter race, age, gender, region. It is everywhere in Maryland, and it is a problem that seems to be growing.
A problem that you see firsthand in this Instagram post obtained by Spotlight on Maryland. In the video, you see a person showcasing a Northwest Baltimore house for rent, but the person doesn't have any legal authority to even enter the home. A video that John, the property's manager, says stunned both him and the owner of the featured Northwest Baltimore home.
Like to get insurance. Door closes, please. Upstairs we go.
We went to Southern District Police and we tried to get them to talk to us, and nobody wanted to talk to us. We were there for 3.5 hours to speak to a detective to prove, hey, this person is breaking and entering. We have it on video of them changing the locks on the property.
As a lawmaker in Annapolis, why do you feel that this is becoming a pervasive problem in communities across the state?
I think the problem is related to, there's these networks of individuals, frankly, that are creating fraudulent documents, leases and things of the like that look, frankly, Gary, more real than some leases that I've had when I've lived in an apartment complex. And so there are individuals that I think themselves are actually duped, that are duped. They end up squatting, but they actually did not have an intent to squat. They think that they have a legitimate purpose to be in a home, and they don't.
State Senator Ron Watson, representing Prince George's County, sponsored a bill last session that speeds up the eviction process of squatters. The new law requires a court hearing to be held within 10 business days once a fraud affidavit is filed with the county sheriff. The revision takes effect in October. Meanwhile, Delegate Iraki's proposal to increase penalties for manufacturing fraudulent leases, a key part that keeps Maryland law enforcement from getting involved, made little movement. Why do you think that the legislation did not advance?
I think it didn't advance because there is a narrative that somehow squatters, by some, are tenants. And they're simply not, Gary.
A message we heard from multiple alleged victims who have had properties they own or manage taken over by squatters.
It's an absolute nightmare in Baltimore City because nobody actually really cares. And the problem is that they just look at it, oh, it's somebody that is between the leasee and the leaseor, and it's much bigger than that.
It's rampant. It's a disease right now in the city. There's professional watchers that are watching people renovating houses. When the house is just about done, they let the next person know, and that person will break in, change the locks, advertise placement, and then you have people move into your house. Could happen in 24 hours.
As our team continues to investigate the impact of squatting on communities like yours, we continue to actively press policymakers and law enforcement for answers. Some say the problem may be way deeper than many think. More on that tomorrow. I'm Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland.
Our Spotlight on Maryland team has also been digging into concerns about squatting across Baltimore. Today, Gary Collins took those questions from property owners to leaders at City Hall.
Hi there, my name is Gary Collins. I'm with Fox 45 News. I'm being told that you are not the owner, you're a squatter of this property. Is that accurate? 1 week after knocking on the door of a Northwest Baltimore home after seeing the property showcased on a social media site as a squatter or last resort house, our team went to City Hall looking for answers.
Like to get insurance.
It is a challenge. It's a challenge in Baltimore. It's a challenge in any city in America.
We pressed Council President Z. Cohen on what the city is doing to address what property owners are calling a crisis.
We want to respect property rights. We want to make sure if a homeowner is entitled to the house that we are not having issues with squatters, and it's an issue where we need to see partnership between DHCD, that's the Department of Housing and Community Development, the police department, often the state's attorney. You know, it really takes a group effort to deal with it.
President Cohen then pivoted.
I would also say that squatting to me is a function of not enough housing in our city.
In the online world, just this week,
You don't got paid no rent, a one-time fee of $1,750 or $1,500.
social media users allegedly selling homes to squatters say they're serving the social good.
She just sent a customer review. She said that, because you know it's a squatter house, she said the realtor is working with her on trying to keep the house and make it hers.
A user tagged us, echoing one of the council president's concerns, saying Baltimore's in a housing crisis. Housing is a human right.
Good morning, everybody.
After speaking with Council President Cohen, we took questions about squatters and the alleged networks aiding them to Mayor Brandon Scott.
Look, our team has been investigating acts of squatting over the past several weeks. It seems to be a major issue here in the city. What is your administration doing to crack down on illegal squatting and, more importantly, the social media networks based here in Baltimore that's fueling such activity?
You guys may have just discovered it in a few weeks, but not me. I personally sent this directly to BPD over a month or so ago when someone sent it to me, and they are investigating in the proper channels. I won't go any above that because it's an active investigation, but this is something that I was alerted to, and I directed BPD to address themselves directly. But also that when you're talking about squatting, is when you have incidents of squatting, which I've dealt with in my career in public service, it's not just about BPD. A lot of times you have to get landlords involved, you have to get the sheriff's office involved, sometimes banks. It's a complicated issue under Maryland law, but in these instances that you're talking about, I will just say that it's being thoroughly investigated by the police department.
Is your administration prepared to crack down on illegal squatting?
I think you're asking the question and you already got the answer. If I directed the police department to investigate, that means that we're investigating to criminal activity, period. It's an illegal activity, and we're going to work in every way that we can under Maryland state law to hold those folks accountable.
We reached out to the property management company of the Northwest Baltimore home allegedly seized by squatters. They say that the property is still occupied. We're going to continue to press for answers. I'm Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland.
A West Baltimore fire that consumed several homes over the weekend has residents pointing to squatters.
Gary Collins with our Spotlight on Maryland team has been digging into the details.
Over the Memorial Day weekend, life was abruptly uprooted for several Baltimore families.
My name is Rodney Pulliam. It's my 10-year-old daughter, lady. We live next door to the houses that they actually burned down and stuff like that. Our house just got burned down, so we just pretty much lost everything.
Pulliam says besides the material loss for his young family, the fire proved fatal.
My dog actually died in the house. So right now, we just homeless. We don't have nowhere to go behind that, no other resources, no nothing like that.
While the fire's cause is still officially undetermined and under investigation by the Baltimore City Fire Department, Pulliam says it started a neighboring house he claims that's long been occupied by squatters.
Squatters, I mean, they sitting there getting high. And I know the door a couple of weeks ago, one of them just jumped out the window and ran. We didn't know where he came from, but he jumped out the window and just ran down the street. Now they're there fussing and fighting and getting high, and right down the house. So now we just stuck, nowhere to go.
Soon after walking out his front door, Kelly Sparks, who lives with his wife on the other side of the alleged squatter house with their 1-, 3-, and 4-year-old children, says he felt a cell phone vibration he's been dreading.
My wife called me and told me that the house was on fire, or the house next door was on fire. I was about actually going to visit my mother. I think I ran almost every light.
When Sparks arrived to flame shooting out of his house, he did what many dads would do, which almost cost him his life.
And ran in the house, I ran up the steps. The smoke was too thick. I fell. They got me out of there. Family good. You know, the house destroyed, we lost everything.
Unrelated to the devastating fire in the 2500 block of Woodbrook Avenue, being blamed at this point by neighbors and squatters. For the past 2 weeks, our team aggressively has been investigating the impact of squatters and the social media networks, connecting them to homes for a fee. Just last week, Mayor Brandon Scott told our team that the police are actively investigating the matter. Rodney and Kelly's lives have been destroyed in the interim.
First name Tom, last name Carl.
Remember him? We spoke with Carl the first day of our squatter investigation 2 weeks ago.
It's an absolute nightmare in Baltimore City because nobody actually really cares.
As a distressed property renovator, Carl shared photos he took of electrical wires being stripped and home gas lines altered by what he says are squatters occupying an increasing number of his projects.
They're jumping the electric, they're jumping the gas, they're stealing it. But the bigger thing is, these are row homes in Baltimore City. When one goes up, when that house catches on fire from that electric being jumped or the gas blowing up, there's going to be people dying.
Meanwhile, for Pullum, action from government officials and law enforcement to squash Maryland squatter issues and the online networks that fuel them cannot come soon enough.
You need to get them out there, and all our stuff is done. Our birth certificate, social security card, all our clothes, all my clothes, and everything is gone. You know, and we lost the life in it. You know, I can't be back.
Following the weekend events, we reached out to the Baltimore City Fire Department with several questions. We're arranging an interview with officials early next week. I'm Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland.
A spokesperson for the City Fire Department told Spotlight on Maryland via email that eyewitness testimony and neighborhood observations are typically integral to their investigations. That spokesperson added that the possibility squatters may have been involved has not been ruled out. The Spotlight on Maryland learned about a flurry of alleged squatting fueled by social media users that has expanded to Baltimore County.
Gary Collins tracked down both a property owner and the occupants in the county.
A relentless investigation into social media users profiting from placing unauthorized occupants into last resort or squatter homes took a turn on Friday, this time to suburban Baltimore County.
This is a property we've owned for about 4 months. We did a complete renovation on it and had it on the market, have a buyer. The buyer went through the month process to purchase.
Property owner Mike Haskell, who asked us not to show his face, says he spent tens of thousands of dollars to bring his Windsor Mill home to market. His excitement to sell the home turned to dread on Thursday night.
The buyer last night drove by and saw a moving truck in the driveway, and they thought maybe it was being unstaged for advertising, and I said no, that was done way earlier. There should be nobody there. So we immediately called the police.
What was your first reaction when you heard that your home was taken over by squatters?
It's just, this is the county. You wouldn't expect something to be happening here like this. And it's really kind of gets you a little freaked out because I don't care where you live in the state of Maryland, you're subject to this happening.
Later that morning,
hey, I'm Gary Collins with Fox 45 News.
We followed the occupant's U-Haul parked in Haskell's driveway to where the property owner was trying to relocate the family of 4. This was Haskell's attempt to prevent the home sale with the contracted buyers from falling through.
I got you.
Several minutes later, the occupants agreed to talk to us if we did not show their faces. We asked when they expected to leave the property they had disputed authority to occupy.
That man is not going to back out from getting that out. You don't got to worry about that from me and my family. That man is going to get that. He's going to buy the house.
So
next Friday, like you said. But it's just unfortunate. Where do we lie?
I mean, at this point, are you turning over this property?
What else do I have to do? Because what I'm going to go stand in front of the corner like, yes.
So is that a yes?
You know, they never said so. Yes, I really did lost my mind. But what I'm saying is, and he even tried to help me with this house. I'm not there with all these two. I can't move my family to the house. But where do we get compensated at? You know what I mean? Like,
after rejecting Haskell's relocation attempt, we followed the occupants back to the occupied home.
I know for sure I ain't going to jail. I know.
Between a social media user who allegedly leased a home to his occupants for $7,500. Since the document was shown to police, Haskell has few options other than pleading with the occupants for the return of his home.
I gotta get compensated. No, because I'm trying to tell you always. It would be nice if I could get compensated something, like a hotel, something, money. It's like I really don't say nothing. I'm not lying.
You'll be out of here by Wednesday. What can I throw you, guy? We call that cash for keys.
Could we call you a little later?
Call me later.
Please, I'm gonna shoot you a text first. Please. You know, like this is the first meal I had since yesterday, and it's Burger King. You know what I mean? because, like I said, we're on the same team. Can we please come?
Absolutely.
And it won't be like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, call me anytime.
You know what I mean?
So here's our time to stay. And when you say later, it's fine.
No, later today. Oh, I'm later on.
No, listen. What I'm saying is I'm going to tell Muhammad, the buyer, that we're talking about what you can be out.
Yeah.
And I'll tell him that our plan is by Wednesday, so he can do his walkthrough.
Yeah, in the house will be clean.
And then he can move forward with the stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, tell me what you think I can do to help.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, we asked the occupants if the social media user identified matched the person that signed their lease.
Is this her?
And then I wakes up.
And real quick, is this her?
Yes.
Okay.
The identified social media account user posted on an account promoting squatter or last resort homes reels of her spending a weekend laser tagging, go-karting, and attending parties. According to the Baltimore County Police report that we obtained, officers dispositioned the burglary call as a civil offense, meaning that officers took no action. Haskell told us today that he paid the family $3,000 to move from his property, which they agreed and handed over the keys. We're going to continue to follow this matter closely. I'm Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland.
Spotlight on Maryland is learning yet another Baltimore County house may be occupied by alleged squatters.
Spotlight on Maryland's Gary Collins has been following the development and how known social media users may also be behind this latest incident.
I know for sure I ain't going to jail. I know too much of my right.
We recently learned about Mike Haskell, a homeowner who halted the sale of his Windsor Mill house after finding a moving truck in his driveway. The home was allegedly seized by unauthorized occupants or squatters.
I gotta get compensated. No, because I'm trying to tell you all. It would be nice if I could get compensated something, like a hotel, something, money. It's like I really don't say it. No, I'm not lying.
You'll be out of here by Wednesday. What can I throw you, guy? We call that cash for keys.
Just 2 hours before Haskell's call to police for a burglary last Thursday night, Baltimore County Police were responding to a similar incident in East Baltimore County in Middle River.
11:30, 11:31. Call for a suspicious person. Avenue. The caller said people who live at this location moved in early in the week and now are banging on the door.
And the police report for a suspicious person in Middle River received late Monday night by Spotlight on Maryland. A property management worker told police he had noticed shavings on the ground by the front door, that the property's lockbox was missing, and the locks had been changed. The report says officers observed signs of forced entry to the basement door of the property, writing the door frame had been split. As officers were clearing the Middle River house, they found a woman upstairs with 2 young kids. Her partner said they had signed a lease and made a one-time $1,500 payment in cash to rent the property. The male occupant identified the same alleged sellers as occupants in purportedly seized homes in West Baltimore County and Baltimore City. The man showed officers this document titled Squatter's Lease Agreement Addendum. The police report says the male occupant told officers he was instructed the homeowner would eventually show up and work something out with him. The report adds the occupant knew that the agreement was fraudulent and that he knew that what he was doing was wrong. The police report says officers then left the scene, deeming the incident a civil matter.
These folks are not tenants.
State Delegate Ryan Araki represents Middle River, where one of the alleged squatter homes is located. He says he's stunned that this incident hits close to home after learning about the West Baltimore County house just yesterday.
We're not talking about someone that's doing this one time. We have people that are doing this time and time again, and we know who they are. It's no different than any other kind of organized criminal network that we would normally hold very seriously accountable. We should do the same here like we would, a drug network or any sort of mafia-like network. That's what this is here.
Is online scamming becoming a prevalent problem that your office is seeing?
Yeah, we're seeing so much of it now. And it seems to be everywhere.
We took Naraki's concerns to Baltimore County State's Attorney Scott Schellenberger.
We spoke to the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office about issues of unlawful taking of property, squatting, that sort of situation. Have you seen that here in Baltimore County?
Yeah, it's come up again where a person will locate an empty property. They will put together a pretend lease. They will pretend to rent the property.
If somebody commits an economic crime, will your office hold them accountable?
Sure. We will prosecute them. one of the main goals in economic crimes is to get restitution to those who have lost out on money. And so that can be a condition of the probation, and depending on the seriousness, there could be jail time involved.
We are arranging an interview next week with the Middle River property owner. The owner said that today, the occupants of his home demanded $5,000 to leave his property. We're going to continue to follow this situation, as well as social media networks that are allegedly fueling squatting, and keep you updated. I'm Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland.
Alleged squatting, even organized squatting, according to observers, is spreading across the region. Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland was on the scene of a taxpayer-funded redevelopment project in Baltimore that was purportedly seized by unauthorized occupants.
As our team continues to relentlessly investigate social media fueled networks that are connecting individuals to properties they have allegedly no legal authority to rent or sell.
Just talk to y'all. I just showed y'all my lease. I want to know what's the problem now.
Sources alerted us to an alleged active squatter takeover on East 22nd Street in Baltimore City on Friday afternoon, as police also arrived for an alleged burglary call.
I know y'all can get in. You can get in by smashing the door open.
The property management company's worker attempted to gain access to the back door, but it was braced.
We're here in the alleyway waiting for police to go ahead and get a warrant to breach the door to gain access to the property. We'll see what happens.
Police identified the woman inside had an ankle monitor on, and the male occupant had active warrants for his arrest. A police sergeant explained the situation to the occupants. While we waited from a safe location, the man and woman peered out and spoke to police multiple times. The authority to enter the home never came. The police shield was put away, the battering ram removed from the scene. Since our team began investigating social media networks selling fake leases, we've reported on 4 homes allegedly occupied by squatters in Baltimore City and Baltimore County. Just this week, we were made aware of another 5 locations.
I saw a gentleman walking out the house, and he didn't look like he was anyone that was even a subcontractor of the guys that we, pretty much hired.
Property owner Joanna Bartholomew says she never thought that she would fall victim to a purported online squatter scheme.
He told me that, he's been living here. I said, you couldn't be living here because I own the building. My organization owns the building. There's no way that you could be living here. He said he has a lease. You can talk to my girlfriend or my fiance.
Bartholomew's company connects first-time homebuyers to qualify homes at affordable prices.
Here we are finding out there's a full family in here. They just got literally within the last 24 to 48 hours, found their way inside the property. One of the people that was living in here had a warrant. He's been arrested at this point. And now we have, a woman and 3 children in this house.
The property owner said that she's beyond frustrated with the impact that squatting is having on everyone in the community.
This is a community revitalization project, supported by state and city funds. And we have a squatter here, and it should be going to a hardworking, family individual that can be able to, become a homeowner.
Do you think that those people who are selling fraudulent leases online, should they be held accountable for their actions?
Absolutely, that individual who committed that, they need to be held accountable. I mean, they're only now communicating with the officers through text saying that they're out of town, they're not available to get on the phone. They should definitely be held accountable. Trust and believe I'll be making a lot of phone calls and emails to be able to get this at a greater attention so we can hopefully get this matter resolved sooner.
Before we left the scene this afternoon, Bartholomew was told she is likely stuck with resolving this matter in civil court because a female refused to leave with her children, despite another occupant arrested with outstanding warrants. As cases continue to cripple people's ability to rent or sell properties throughout Maryland, we're going to continue to press for answers and demand action and accountability. I'm Gary Collins in the studio with Spotlight on Maryland.
Well, concerns are rising over squatting and how local, state, and federal officials are addressing what property owners call a squatting crisis in Baltimore.
That's right. Gary Collins with our Spotlight on Maryland team has been pressing for answers and has an update on the alleged squatting incident that happened on Friday.
No, man. Get
Fallout continues after a police standoff in Baltimore City on Friday that resulted in a man being arrested for what law enforcement officials say was an unserved common assault warrant. The suspect was living in a house being rehabbed with taxpayer funds that the owner says was abruptly taken over by alleged squatters.
I just talked to y'all. I just showed y'all my lease. I want to know what's the problem now.
According to police, a woman was also occupying the house during Friday's standoff. She was on an ankle monitor for unrelated charges of armed robbery, assault, and theft, and was allegedly squatting along with 3 children.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mondawmin Mall.
We took questions about the incident to Mayor Brandon Scott during a violence prevention summer kickoff, again asking him about squatting and the alleged networks behind the activity. We presented similar questions we asked last month.
Just this Friday, an individual that you're familiar with, Joanna Bartholomew, who does a lot of work in this city with rehabbing homes, turning them around so they're available. Her house was taken over by squatters in a 2.5-hour standoff with police. My question to you, 19 days later, what is the city doing to address the situation?
Thank you. So what we'll start off is making sure that we remind everybody that what you just laid it out, right? Someone took over someone's house and the police responded to address it. They obviously cannot prevent someone from doing that before they do it. And what is different, though, is that these folks are doing the advertisement for these things online, which we are looking at if there are ways to hold them responsible legally in that way. And it may end up being that we have to have state laws change in a session next year, which we're looking at to see whether we can just charge people for that act before, simply because they're broadcasting that they will do exactly what they have done.
Mr. Mayor, one of the occupants had an active warrant, was arrested on scene. The other occupant, who's still in the house today, Mr. Mayor, has an ankle monitor with 3 children who are not attending school. What are you doing?
So again, I know that your station in particular likes to do the propaganda, so let's remind the residents of Baltimore how this works, right? You said that person had a warrant, and the police arrested that person for the warrant. As you know very well, they do not control ankle monitors. That is something controlled by the state of Maryland. And what we will do is enforce laws based on what we have the authority to do, the city of Baltimore. And that's arrest people when we, under the Maryland state law, can do just that. As far as the other stuff, you're going to have to talk to the folks at the state level, not me.
Hours after our question to Mayor Scott, approximately at noon, police went to the Baltimore house in question. According to the property management company, the woman was removed. Not all alleged squatter situations are resolved so promptly.
Spotlight on Maryland's Gary Collins investigates how squatting may be costing people millions of dollars in legal fees and damages.
One social media account claiming to connect individuals to last resort of squatter homes for a one-time fee ranging from $800 to $7,500 showcased our reporting this weekend, saying a little birdie told me she's still in the house, to probably the best dollars she ever spent.
She does this for a certain fee, and she'll move you into somebody's property that's not yours, which is about my case.
The social media account was referring to this woman who was included in our reporting at the beginning of our investigation over a month ago. The property management company says that she's still in the Baltimore home, refusing to leave, costing his organization thousands.
Are you concerned that now you're in a situation where probably in the foreseeable future, you guys are going to have to find another place to live after spending thousands?
Well, I know that's what's going to happen, but God has always got my back. And when you don't do things to people, your blessings will come.
Our team is currently being flooded with instances of alleged squatting across Maryland. At the same time, social media accounts that we are tracking that are connecting individuals to properties are showing no signs of stopping. We also won't be stopping our investigation anytime soon, and will continue to press for answers. I'm Gary Collins in the studio with Spotlight on Maryland.
Spotlight on Maryland is pushing for answers surrounding what some property owners call a squatting crisis in the Baltimore area.
Gary Collins took those concerns directly to Governor Wes Moore.
After multiple high-profile cases of alleged unauthorized occupants have surfaced,
No, man. Get out my
With many tied to social media accounts promoting access to so-called last resort or squatter homes for a one-time fee, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott publicly recognized the seriousness of the situation earlier this week.
And what is different, though, is that these folks are doing the advertisement for these things online, which we are looking at if there are ways to hold them responsible legally in that way. As far as the other stuff, you're going to have to talk to the folks at the state level, not me.
Good morning. We follow Mayor Scott's direction.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
And took questions to Maryland Governor Wes Moore after an unrelated press conference in Annapolis.
All right, guys, we got time for a couple.
Governor, look, squatting is a big issue, not just here in Maryland, but across the country. In Baltimore, we've seen a number of instances, social media accounts that are fueling this situation. What's your administration doing to address this, particularly considering other governors are taking immediate action now?
Yeah, well, I think you're seeing how in Maryland we're taking immediate action as well. I mean, we're working with all of our partners to be able to ensure that people can be safe, that people can be secure, and that laws are being followed. And so I don't think that there is not a single person or partner that we're not working with to be able to address the issue.
We asked State Delegate Ryan Naraki about the governor's response.
What has the governor done to address squatting in Maryland?
Gary, we have done nothing at the state level to address squatting in Maryland. And, I understand that the governor is making all kinds of claims about this issue, but at the end of the day, the governor is certainly entitled to his own opinion on the matter, but he's not entitled to his own set of facts.
Despite a bill to expedite the removal of alleged squatters from homes that is set to take effect later this year, Delegate Naraki adds that the change is small and more needs to be done.
In my own district, we have issues of squatting occurring right now as we speak, right in Middle River.
Just like Delegate Naraki, our investigative team continues to learn of new instances of alleged squatting fueled by social media.
Similar to other instances that we've seen in Baltimore County, a moving truck pulled up here in front of this Mount Washington house with furniture inside. The problem? The home wasn't supposed to be occupied.
After the discovery last week, a real estate professional asking only to be referred to as Eugene said many in the housing industry are calling for immediate action.
Do you feel that this issue is rapidly expanding?
Yeah, I think right now it's becoming an epidemic. I think because of the weather, I think that might play a part. I don't know, to be honest with you, but I'm getting calls from landlords, other investors, other realtors that are seeing this become an everyday occurrence, and it looks like it's the same person or persons that are involved with signing these fake leases.
Should the governor act in an emergency capacity to address this issue?
The governor has, the executive order privilege as his office. He could certainly, issue an executive order right now to act in an emergency capacity. He could also direct various state law enforcement agencies to take stronger action, like the state police and like other agencies, to take stronger action in some of these jurisdictions to help out with this crisis.
On our way to speak to the governor, we were made aware of yet another instance of alleged squatting in the Baltimore region. We will not stop pressing for answers on this topic for you. I'm Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland.